My husband's assistant had a crush on him and a secret that could destroy him. One night, he came home pale, whispering, "She's blackmailing me." Instead of confronting her, I waited. At the office Christmas party, I pulled her aside and said, "I know what you're doing." Her smile faded. Then I showed her the email I had just sent to HR, with every proof of her scheme. This all happened last year in Chicago. My husband, Mark, works in a large digital marketing firm downtown. He's been there for 7 years, worked his way up, respected, the usual. I used to be proud of him. Maybe I still am. I don't know anymore. He has an assistant named Jenna. She joined about 2 years ago. Early 30s, tall, always in designer heels and too much perfume. Pretty, in that obvious way. I never liked her. Not because I was jealous, I'm not that kind of wife. But because she was always around. Always texting him, even during weekends. Sometimes late at night, under the excuse of urgent client issues. I brought it up a few times. Mark always brushed it off. "She's just enthusiastic," he said. "She's like that with everyone." No, she wasn't. Let me get to the night it all changed. It was mid-December. Freezing cold. I was making dinner when Mark came home early, around 5:45, which was rare. I heard the door open and called out something like, "You're early." But he didn't respond right away. I turned and saw him standing in the hallway, still in his coat, pale as a ghost. Not exaggerating, his hands were actually shaking. I thought someone had died. I rushed over, asked him what was wrong. He sat down, stared at the floor, and said, "She's blackmailing me." My stomach dropped. I felt like the room was spinning. I didn't say anything at first, just waited. Then he said, "Jenna. She has pictures. From the New York conference." That was back in October. A 4-day trip. He mentioned she'd be there, but I didn't think much of it at the time. They'd gone to NYC with a few other colleagues to pitch to some major clients. He said she showed up at his hotel room one night. Said she brought drinks, claimed she wanted to rehearse the presentation. He admitted he let her in. They drank. She started flirting. He told her no. He claims nothing happened. Then he said she snapped a few photos, him shirtless, looking half asleep, looking guilty even if he wasn't. She's been holding on to them ever since. Now she's saying unless he breaks things off with me and chooses her, she'll send the photos to HR, tell them he coerced her, ruin his career. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just stared at him and asked one thing, "Is there anything else?" He said no. That was it. I didn't believe him. But I didn't fight. Not yet. I said I needed time and went upstairs. My hands were trembling so bad I couldn't unlock my phone. I knew what I had to do. I had to find out the truth on my own. I started quietly collecting everything. I didn't tell him. I played it cool. I even asked about Jenna occasionally like I used to, pretending to still be the slightly insecure wife. He bought it. Meanwhile, I was going through his emails, his texts, even the shared Google Drive folder he used for work. Nothing direct. Jenna was smarter than that. But there were small things. Messages that felt too flirty. Photos from the New York trip, one of them at a rooftop bar, standing a little too close. Calendar entries where she'd schedule after-hours meetings. It wasn't solid proof. Not yet. So I hired someone. A private investigator. I told Mark I needed time away and visited my sister in Milwaukee for a week. While I was there, I got updates from the PI. He followed Jenna after work. Took photos. She wasn't seeing anyone else. But she was definitely obsessive. Waiting outside Mark's building. Following him to lunch. Once, she even tailed him to a restaurant where he was meeting a client, and sat 2 tables away. I kept everything. And then came the office Christmas party. That's when I knew it would happen. It was at a hotel ballroom downtown, fancy, as usual. Everyone was invited. I got an invitation too, because I was technically listed as a spouse guest. I hadn't gone in previous years. This time, I dressed up and went. I walked in around 7:30. Mark looked stunned when he saw me. Jenna, standing beside him, turned red. I smiled at both of them like nothing was wrong. We mingled. I sipped wine. I waited. At 8:10, I pulled Jenna aside. "Can we talk?" I asked, smiling. She hesitated. I could see the wheels turning in her head. But she nodded. We stepped into a hallway outside the ballroom. Quiet, carpeted, dim lighting. "I know what you're doing," I said. Calm. Clear. She blinked. "Excuse me?" "You've been blackmailing my husband," I said. "And I have proof. Messages, surveillance. Photos. You name it." Her face changed. All the color drained. She tried to speak, but I cut her off. "I already drafted an email to HR. With everything attached. I haven't sent it yet. I wanted to give you one chance." One. She swallowed hard. Then she smiled, like it was all some kind of game. "You won't send it. You'll ruin his career too." That's when I pulled out my phone. Opened the email. Clicked send. She stood there, stunned. "I guess we'll find out," I said, and walked away. So. I sent the email. The one with every photo, every message, every screenshot. I thought I'd feel relief. I didn't. I went home that night and just sat in the dark. No TV. No music. Just me and a glass of wine I didn't touch. Mark didn't come home right away. He texted around midnight, "What did you do?" That was it. "No, are you okay?" "No thank you." Just that. He came home around 2 a.m. reeked of whiskey. I was still awake. He stood in the doorway like he didn't recognize me. "You could have destroyed me," he said. I didn't answer. Just stared at him. Because what he didn't get, what he still doesn't get, is that he almost destroyed me. "She's gonna fight this," he added. "She's already spinning a story to HR." Turns out Jenna had already beat me to the punch in one way. She'd told HR her version of events an hour before I sent my email. She said Mark pursued her. Said she turned him down. Claimed I was jealous and unstable, trying to ruin her career over nothing. And here's the part that hit like a punch, she had emails too. Emails from him. Flirty ones. Suggestive. Late night brainstorming? "Want to grab a drink, just us this time?" He never told me about those. I confronted him, furious. He said they were jokes. Said it didn't mean anything. Said he never acted on anything. "You called her your safe space in one of them," I said. "What part of that sounds like a joke?" He didn't have an answer. HR put them both on leave. Full investigation. No one was allowed to talk to them. But people talked. The rumor mill exploded. Mark's name got dragged, but so did mine. Because Jenna? She didn't just stop at HR. She sent emails to my job, too. Yeah. She tracked down my workplace. Sent screenshots, saying I was harassing her, stalking her, spreading lies. One of my coworkers pulled me aside, confused. That's how I found out. She was trying to destroy me now. And she didn't stop there. 2 days later, I got a message on Facebook. "Burner account. No profile photo. You want to play games? Let's see how far you'll go when your husband finds out what you've been hiding." I stared at that message for so long I didn't even hear the oven timer go off. I had no idea what she meant. But then I remembered, 3 years ago. I had a brief thing, nothing physical. Just messages. A guy from work, now long gone. I never told Mark. Never acted on it. But the messages existed. Buried in an old Gmail folder. Had she found them? I don't know. I panicked. I deleted everything I could think of. Cleared backups. Even wiped an old phone. But it didn't matter, because now I had to tell Mark before she did. That conversation was ugly. He didn't yell. He just stared at me. Quiet. Then laughed. Actually laughed. Of course, he said. Of course you weren't perfect either. I told him it was just texts. Nothing more. He didn't say anything. Just left the room. We didn't talk for the rest of the night. So now, both of us have dirt on each other. Jenna knows, and she's using it. HR still investigating. Our marriage is bleeding out. And the worst part? She's still out there. Still texting from different numbers. Still posting cryptic tweets. Still following me on random Instagram accounts. This woman is obsessed. And dangerous. I've already started filing for a restraining order. The private investigator is digging deeper. I'm trying to find out how she got into my emails in the first place. I think she hacked us. Every day I wake up wondering what else she's got on us. And now, something new has started, anonymous voicemails. A man's voice, distorted. Saying things like you're in too deep and back off while you still can. I don't know if it's her. Or someone she hired. Or if we've uncovered something way bigger. All I know is, this isn't over. So here we are. Mark and I are barely speaking. HR is dragging their feet. Jenna's still circling us like a shark. And now? We've got anonymous voicemails. Half-whispered threats. Scrambled voices. Some sound like a man. Others, maybe it's her. At first, I thought she was bluffing. But now, I'm not so sure. The twist came 3 days ago. The private investigator, same guy I hired before, sent me an encrypted folder. Inside were bank records. Not Mark's. Not Jenna's. A third name popped up. Someone I'd never heard of, Tyler K. Moreno. I googled him. He used to work at Mark's firm. Quiet guy, finance department. Fired 2 years ago for violation of company policy. That's all I could find. But here's the kicker, Jenna was dating him back then. Briefly. Quietly. No one talked about it. But it happened. And now? Tyler's name was linked to 4 deposits into Jenna's personal account, large ones. All sent just before she started threatening Mark. All labeled consulting. Yeah. Consulting my ass. I asked the PI to dig deeper. Turns out Tyler's also been seen near our neighborhood. Cameras caught his car 3 times in the past month, driving slow down our block. I pulled the voicemail audio again and ran it through an app for fun. Voice match, 72% likelihood it was him. So now I've got Jenna, clearly obsessed and unstable, my husband, guilty of at least something, me, holding secrets of my own, a mystery man from the past, sending money, maybe watching us, HR playing neutral, my job getting dragged into this, and every day, some new layer peels back, and then came the USB drive. It was in our mailbox. No return address. No note. Just a tiny black USB in a plain envelope. Mark was the one who found it. I told him not to plug it in, but he did. Of course he did. Inside were 5 files. One was a voice memo of Jenna, recording herself. Crying. Saying, I don't care what happens to me anymore. He said I was special. He said he'd leave her. The second file was a video, grainy footage from a hallway camera. Hotel hallway. Mark's Hotel, New York. It showed Jenna walking out of his room in the middle of the night. She looked angry. Not scared. Not sad. Just angry. The third file? A scan of a non-disclosure agreement with Mark's signature on it. That stopped me cold. What the hell is this? I asked him. He looked just as shocked. Said he signed nothing. Said it had to be fake. I'm not sure I believe him anymore. File 4, emails. But not between Mark and Jenna. Between Jenna and HR. Apparently she'd filed an informal complaint against Mark 6 months ago. Said he was overly familiar. Said she felt uncomfortable. She withdrew it 2 weeks later, but it was on record. HR buried it. And the last file? Photos of me. Walking to my car. Shopping for groceries. One at my yoga class, taken from behind a window. They weren't grainy. They weren't stalkerish in that cliché horror movie way. They were sharp. Purposeful. Like someone wanted me to see I was being watched. I stared at the last photo for a long time. I looked scared in it, even though I had no idea I was being watched that day. That's when I realized, this isn't about cheating anymore. It's about power. About control. Jenna doesn't just want Mark. She wants my life. Or maybe she wants to ruin it. Or maybe it's not even about him anymore. Maybe it never was. Mark finally admitted something last night. Back in New York, she didn't just show up to his room. He invited her. Not for sex, he says, but for company. Said he felt burned out, lonely, and she made him feel needed. He says he didn't sleep with her. I'm not sure I care anymore. What I care about now is this: someone is messing with us on a level I don't understand. HR is useless. The police won't help until a crime actually happens. And the emails haven't stopped. There's one I got just this morning: you're playing a game you've already lost. No sender. No signature. Just that line. But I'm not done. Because I just emailed Jenna's sister. She's the one thread I haven't pulled on yet. And what she told me? It changes everything. When I reached out to Jenna's sister, I wasn't expecting much. What I got was a 2-hour phone call, half whispered, half sobbed. Her name is Elise. She lives in Indianapolis, hasn't spoken to Jenna in over a year. I'm not supposed to say anything, she started. But I can't watch her do this again. Again? I asked. That's when it all came out. Jenna had a history. Not just with Mark. There were others. 2 at her last job. One married, one not. She'd get close to them. Flirt. Push boundaries. Then accuse. File complaints. Some true, some exaggerated, some made up. Elise didn't know why, just that it always followed a pattern. She doesn't want the guy, Elise told me. She wants control. She likes the drama. The power. The moment where everything explodes. And now it was about to explode here, too. Because the firm finally responded to the email bomb I dropped. HR called for a mediation session. In person. All 3 of us. 1 room. 1 table. 1 boiling mess. I didn't want to go. Mark said I didn't have to. But I needed to. I needed her to see my face when it all fell apart. The conference room was all glass and tension. Jenna walked in looking smug, like she was already celebrating. Mark looked tired, older. I didn't say a word to either of them. HR started talking. We've reviewed both sets of claims, the woman said, clearly nervous. Before we move to formal hearings, we're asking for an opportunity to speak openly. Jenna leaned forward. This woman's trying to destroy me. I looked at her. Calm. Cold. Then I reached into my bag and dropped the USB drive on the table. Go ahead, I said. Play the files. She froze. HR did too. I didn't come here to fight, I continued. I came to finish this. You're not a victim, Jenna. You're a manipulator. You stalked me. You tried to ruin my job. And you lied to HR. I've got every receipt. She stayed quiet. For once. Just stared at the flash drive like it was a loaded gun. And then Mark, quiet, broken Mark, finally cracked. She told me she was pregnant, he said. The whole room went still. She cornered me at work 3 weeks ago. Said she missed her period. Said she was scared. I didn't tell anyone because I didn't know if it was true. Jenna's eyes snapped to him. You swore you wouldn't say anything. I swore a lot of things, he said, voice shaking. None of them were real. She stood up, furious. You begged me to keep it. You said you'd leave her. No, I didn't, he said. You told me I'd lose everything if I didn't go along with it. You manipulated me, Jenna. And I let you. Then she screamed. Not yelled. Screamed. A raw, angry sound that rattled the glass walls. HR tried to calm her. She threw a chair. Literally. Security came in within minutes. She was escorted out. Screaming. Crying. Still saying it wasn't her fault. And me? I just sat there. Watching. HR sent a company-wide memo the next day. Jenna resigned due to personal reasons. They scrubbed her from the company directory overnight. Mark? He was put on unpaid leave pending further review. That was 3 months ago. They never called him back. At home, it got worse before it got better. We fought. I broke things. He packed a bag and stayed in a motel for a week. Then he came back. We barely spoke. Just coexisted. Both of us too tired to start over, too numb to walk away. My job eventually believed me. Some coworkers didn't. There are still whispers. Some people think I overreacted. Others think I should have left him. My sister cried when I told her everything. My mom didn't say much, just hugged me harder than she ever had before. We're still together. I don't know why. Maybe it's love. Maybe it's trauma bonding. Maybe we're both just scared of starting from scratch. We go to counseling twice a week. We're learning how to talk again. How to trust again. It's slow. Messy. Sometimes it feels impossible. But sometimes, in the silence, we remember who we used to be. Mark apologized. Not just in words, but in actions. He's trying. I see it. Me? I'm healing. Day by day. I don't forgive him. Not yet. Maybe not ever fully. But I forgave myself, for staying too long quiet, for doubting my gut, for losing pieces of myself to someone else's storm. I learned that being the calm one doesn't mean being passive. That love is not an excuse for betrayal. And that sometimes, justice doesn't come from revenge, it comes from reclaiming your own voice. Jenna vanished. Changed her number. Deleted her socials. Good riddance. Tyler, the man from before, turns out he was hired by her to gather info. Private digging. Paid to do dirty work. The PI traced it all. We turned it in. I don't know if anything legal will come from it. But I hope one day, someone stops her. If you're reading this, stuck in something similar, listen, you are not crazy. You are not overreacting. Trust your gut. Silence protects no one but the abuser. Speak. Scream. Burn it all down if you have to. And then rebuild, brick by brick, on your own damn terms. I'm still rebuilding. But this time, it's for me.